Ever wonder what a $100 million mansion looks like? We're about to show you not just one, but 15 of the most insane celebrity homes on the planet. From Tyler Perry's private airstrip to a 6,000 square foot nightclub, these places are wild. And wait till you see the Caribbean mansion that costs more than some countries' GDPs. Tyler Perry's $100 million Atlanta Palace. Tyler Perry's come a long way from being homeless. Now he's chilling in a $100 million mansion that makes the White House look like a dollhouse. This place is so massive it sits on 1,000 acres. That's like 757 football fields back to back. You could probably see this place from space. But the crazy part, Perry's got his own private runway. Yeah, you heard that right. He can land his jet right on his property because apparently driving is for us regular folks. Imagine coming home from a long day and just touching down in your backyard. That's next level. Inside, it's like a luxury resort met a theme park. There's a 2-lane bowling alley right in the house. No need to put on shoes and head to the local alley when you can roll strikes in your PJs. And don't even get me started on the theater room. The seats in there are probably nicer than most people's entire living rooms. You'd never want to go to a regular movie theater again. But here's where it gets wild. Perry built a full-on replica of the Oval Office just because he can. It's like he woke up one day and thought, you know what this place needs? A fake White House room. Maybe he practices giving presidential speeches in there or something. The pool is so massive you could probably host the Olympics in it. Michael Phelps could do his full warm-up routine and still have room left over. It's like Perry looked at a regular pool and said, nah, make it big enough to have its own zip code. After seeing all this, you'll look at your place and realize it's basically a cardboard box. Perry's living in a whole different universe. His guest bathroom is probably bigger than most apartments. It's the kind of place that makes you wonder if you should have become a movie mogul instead of whatever you're doing now. But hey, at least your electric bill doesn't cost more than a car payment. Can you imagine the upkeep on this place? It's probably got more staff than some small companies. But when you've got forget-you money like Tyler Perry, I guess that's just another day in paradise. Drake's $100 million Toronto compound. If Tyler Perry's got his own slice of paradise, Drake's turned his Toronto mansion into a playground for the senses. Ever wonder what it's like to swim in a pool that serenades you? Or sleep in a bed that costs more than most people's cars? Drake's crib is about to blow your mind. First off, this place is so big it's got its own zip code. Seriously, you could probably get lost in there and need GPS to find your way out. But the real jaw-dropper? Drake's got a custom basketball court with the OVO Owl logo smack in the center. It's like he's playing on his own personal NBA court every time he shoots hoops. But that's nothing compared to his Jersey museum. Yeah, you heard that right. Drake's got a whole room dedicated to signed jerseys worth millions. It's like walking into a sports hall of fame, but it's just in some dude's house. Now let's talk about his bed. This thing costs over $100,000. That's more than most people's entire house. It's probably so comfy you'd never want to get up. But when you do, you're in for another surprise. The toilets in Drake's mansion are something else. They play music when you sit on them. For real. It's like having a concert in your bathroom every time nature calls. Talk about a throne fit for a king. And of course, what would a music mogul's mansion be without a recording studio? Drake's got a full setup that's probably nicer than Abbey Road. He could probably record a whole album without ever leaving his house. But the real kicker, the pool. This thing's got underwater speakers, so you can listen to God's plan while doing laps. It's like swimming in a giant wet speaker. Just imagine having a pool party there. It'd be insane. After seeing Drake's pad, you'll feel like you're living in a shoebox. This place is so over the top, it makes other mansions look like starter homes. It's not just a house, it's a whole experience. But all this luxury comes with a price. There have been noise complaints about the parties and events at the property. Guess when your house is basically a nightclub, the neighbors might have something to say about it. And still, when you're Drake, I guess you can afford to ruffle a few feathers. This place isn't just a home, it's a statement. It's like he took every crazy idea for a dream house and said, yeah, let's do all of that. From the OVO court to the musical toilets, every inch of this place screams Drake. So next time you're feeling fancy because you got a new throw pillow, just remember, somewhere out there, Drake's probably lounging on his $100,000 bed, listening to his latest track through his toilet speakers. Now that's living large. Bill Gates, $131 million, Xanadu 2.0. Drake's got musical toilets, but Bill Gates, he's got artwork that changes with the push of a button, and that's just the beginning of the weirdness in his $131 million digital paradise. Xanadu 2.0 is so next level, it'll make your smart home look like it's running Windows 95. This place is packed with so much tech, it's practically alive. Gates can control everything from the lights to the temperature with just a few taps. It's like living inside a giant smartphone, but way cooler. And get this, The artwork on the walls isn't just fancy, it's magic. Gates can swap out the paintings whenever he feels like it, just by pressing a button. One minute you're looking at a Picasso, the next it's a Van Gogh. Talk about a quick redecoration. But the real kicker? There's a whole room just for jumping around. Yep, Gates has his own trampoline room. Guess when you're that rich, you can turn your childhood dreams into reality. Now let's talk about the beach. Most people are happy with a sand pit in the backyard, but not Bill. He imported sand from the Caribbean for his personal beach. It's like having a slice of tropical paradise right in rainy Washington. But it's not just for show. There's a whole ecosystem going on here. Gates has a salmon stream running through his property with real fish swimming in it. It's like having a private aquarium, but way bigger and more natural. Some folks are worried about how this affects the local environment, but Gates says it's all part of his plan to be eco-friendly. Still, it's pretty wild to think about salmon swimming through a billionaire's backyard. And of course there's a pool. But this ain't your average backyard splash zone. It's got underwater speakers, so you can listen to your favorite tunes while doing laps. Seems like rich people really love their aquatic acoustics. Drake's got the same setup in his Toronto mansion. After seeing all this, your smart thermostat and Alexa are gonna seem pretty basic. Gates has turned his house into a showcase of what technology can do when money's no object. It's like living in the future, but right now. But here's the thing. With all this crazy tech and luxury, you gotta wonder if it ever feels like too much. Does Gates ever get lost in his own house? Does he wake up some mornings and forget which of his 24 bathrooms to use? Maybe having a house that's smarter than most computers has its downsides. But hey, when you're worth billions, I guess these are the kind of problems you want to have. The $139 million Bel Air mega mansion. Gates might have 24 bathrooms, but this next place, it's got a vodka tasting room with fur coats. Yeah, you heard that right. Welcome to the $139 million Bel Air mega mansion, where excess is just the starting point. This house is so fancy, Buckingham Palace looks like a budget motel in comparison. But the real showstopper, there's a 6,000 square foot nightclub inside the house. That's bigger than most people's entire homes. Imagine having your own personal club, complete with a killer sound system and lights that'd make Vegas jealous. You'd never have to wait in line or pay cover again. But wait, it gets wilder. There's a vodka tasting room where they provide fur coats. It's like they took the idea of a wine cellar and said, nah, let's make it bougie. This place is stocked with top-shelf brands like Beluga, Grey Goose and Ciroc. You can sip on premium vodka while draped in fur, feeling like Russian royalty. The garage isn't just a place to park cars, it's practically a car museum. It's got a rotating platform to show off the rides, like some kind of automotive catwalk. You could probably fit a whole dealership's worth of luxury cars in there. When it comes to entertainment, this place doesn't mess around. The theater is so high-tech and massive, it makes IMAX look like watching movies on your phone. You'd probably need a map just to find your seat. The main bedroom? It's bigger than most people's entire houses. You could probably fit a whole apartment in there and still have room for a yoga studio. It's the kind of space that makes you wonder if the owners ever actually see each other. And don't even get me started on the bathrooms. This place has more toilets than some small towns have people. You could probably use a different bathroom every day for a month and never hit the same one twice. After seeing all this, your dream home's gonna seem pretty lame in comparison. That extra bedroom you've been wanting? This place probably has a whole wing just for storing extra toilet paper. But here's the kicker. All this luxury hasn't exactly made the neighbors happy. There've been complaints about how big and over the top this place is. Guess when your house is basically a small city, it tends to ruffle some feathers. Still, you gotta wonder what it's like to live somewhere so massive and packed with crazy features. Do you ever get used to having your own nightclub? Does the novelty of fur coats in the vodka room ever wear off? Maybe at some point all this excess starts to feel normal. But for us regular folks, it's hard to even imagine. This place isn't just a house, it's a whole different world of luxury. Mark Wahlberg's $87.50 million Beverly Hills estate. From vodka rooms to personal nightclubs, we've seen some crazy mansion features. But Mark Wahlberg's $87.5 million estate, it's got something that'll make even the fanciest gym membership look like a waste of money. You won't believe what this guy's got in his backyard. Wahlberg's Beverly Hills Palace is so massive, his kids probably need a map just to find the kitchen. But the real showstopper? There's a full-size golf course right in the backyard. No need to book a tee time or deal with slow players. Wahlberg can practice his swing whenever he feels like it. Now let's talk about the home gym. This ain't your average basement setup with a dusty treadmill and some rusty dumbbells. Wahlberg's gym is bigger and better equipped than most public fitness centers. We're talking professional-grade equipment that'd make even hardcore athletes jealous. There's even a rock climbing wall and Peloton bikes. It's like he took a high-end gym and said, "Yeah, put that in my house." But Wahlberg's not just about staying fit. He knows how to kick back and relax too. He's got a professional-grade movie theater for private screenings. Imagine watching the latest blockbuster, or maybe one of Wahlberg's own flicks, in a setup that puts your local cinema to shame. We're talking plush seating, a giant screen, and sound so good you'll feel like you're right in the action. For the wine lovers out there, get ready to drool. Wahlberg's wine cellar holds more bottles than most liquor stores. It's probably stocked with rare vintages that cost more than your car. You could throw a wine tasting party every night for a year and still not get through the whole collection. Outside, there's a grotto pool that would make Hugh Hefner jealous. It's not just a place to cool off, it's a whole outdoor entertainment area. Perfect for those star-studded Hollywood parties or just a chill Sunday afternoon with the family. And get this, the guest house is nicer than 99% of regular houses. Most people would kill to live in Wahlberg's spare room. It's probably got more amenities than a luxury hotel suite. After seeing Wahlberg's place, your backyard's gonna feel like a postage stamp. That patio set you were so proud of. It's basically camping gear compared to this setup. Wahlberg's living large in a way most of us can't even imagine. But you gotta wonder, with all this crazy luxury, does Wahlberg ever actually use it all? Does he hit the rock wall every morning? Does he play 18 holes before breakfast? Or is it just there to show off? Either way, it's a whole different level of living. Makes you think twice about complaining about your apartment's lack of storage space, huh? Oprah's $90 million promised land estate. Speaking of next-level luxury, let's talk about Oprah's $90 million promised land. This ain't just a house, it's basically its own zip code. You think having a fish tank is cool? Oprah's got a whole man-made lake stocked with fish. It's like she said, "Nah, an aquarium's too small. Give me a lake." This place is so massive, Oprah probably needs a golf cart just to get from her bedroom to the kitchen. And get this, she's got a tea house, not just a fancy kettle or a cute little tea corner. A whole separate building just for sipping tea. That's some next-level bougie right there. The gardens and orchards at Oprah's place are insane. We're talking fruit trees and plants as far as the eye can see. It's not just pretty, it's practical too. These gardens could probably feed a small country, and it's not just for show. The landscaping is all about sustainability, with native plants that don't need much water. It's like Oprah's got her own little ecosystem going on. But here's where it gets wild. Oprah's got an entire wing of the house just for her dogs. Your pup's bed in the corner of the living room. That's cute. Oprah's dogs have more square footage than most people's entire apartments. They're living the high life, probably eating better than most humans too. And if you think your wine rack is impressive, wait till you hear about Oprah's cellar. This thing is climate controlled and bigger than most apartments. It's probably got bottles older than some countries. You could throw a wine tasting party every night for a year and still not get through the whole collection. But Oprah's not just about the finer things in life. She's also got a private equestrian ring. Because why ride horses like a regular person when you can have your own personal arena? It's the kind of thing that makes your local stables look like a petting zoo. After seeing Oprah's estate, your houseplant collection is going to seem pretty pathetic. That succulent you're so proud of? It's basically a weed compared to Oprah's botanical wonderland. This place isn't just a home, it's a whole different world. But here's the thing, with all this luxury, you gotta wonder if it ever feels like too much. Does Oprah ever get lost in her own gardens? Does she use all these crazy amenities, or are some just for show? Maybe having a house bigger than some towns has its downsides. But when you're Oprah, I guess these are the kind of problems you want to have. Jeff Bezos' $165 million Beverly Hills mansion. Ever wonder what happens when the richest dude on earth decides to buy a house? Spoiler alert, it ain't your average home sweet home. Bezos' Beverly Hills mansion is so massive, it's got amenities that'd make small towns jealous. We're talking features that'll make your jaw drop faster than Amazon stock prices. First off, this place cost Bezos more than some countries make in a year. Yeah, you heard that right. He dropped $165 million on this pad. That's like buying a small island, but instead he got a slice of Beverly Hills history. Now most folks are happy with a putting green in the backyard. Not Bezos. He's got a whole 9-hole golf course on his property. Because why play 18 holes when you can just do half and call it a day, right? It's like having your own country club in your backyard. But golf ain't enough for old Jeff. He's also got a full-size tennis court with its own pavilion. It's probably nicer than the courts at Wimbledon. You could host your own Grand Slam tournament and still have room for a barbecue. Now let's talk about cars. Most people are happy if their garage fits 2 cars. Bezos, His garage can hold 30 rides. That's more than some car dealerships. It's like he's got his own personal showroom, probably filled with cars that cost more than most people's houses. But here's where it gets wild. Bezos has got a separate house just for entertaining guests. Yeah, a whole other house. Most people have a guest room. Bezos has a guest mansion. It's the kind of place that makes five-star hotels look like motels. The pool is so big you could probably lose a small boat in it. It's not just for swimming, it's like a whole water park. You could probably host the Olympics in there and still have room for a few jet skis. And get this, there's a meditation garden bigger than most people's entire property. It's like Bezos looked at a regular garden and said, nah, make it big enough to get lost in. You could probably spend a whole day in there and not see the same plant twice. After seeing Bezos's place, your idea of treating yourself is going to seem pretty cheap. That fancy dinner you splurged on last month? That's probably what Bezos spends on breakfast. Your new TV? That's like a light bulb in one of his many, many rooms. But here's the thing. With a house this big, you gotta wonder if Bezos ever actually uses all of it. Does he play all 9 holes of his golf course? Does he switch bedrooms every night just for fun? Maybe having a house with more rooms than some hotels has its downsides. But when you're the richest dude on the planet, I guess these are the kind of problems you want to have. The $238 million NYC penthouse. Bezos might have a whole guest house, but some New Yorkers are living large in the sky. We're talking about a place where your closet is bigger than most people's entire apartments. Ever wonder what $238 million buys you in Manhattan? This penthouse costs more than some small countries make in a year. It's not just a home, it's a statement. The views are so good you can probably see tomorrow's weather rolling in. Forget binoculars, you might need a telescope to see the ground from up there. No. Getting home is a breeze with a private elevator that goes straight to your front door. No more awkward small talk with neighbors or waiting for slow lifts. It's like having your own personal rocket ship to the clouds. The kitchen in this place would make Gordon Ramsay jealous. It's got more high-end appliances than most restaurants. We're talking multiple ovens, a fridge that's probably smarter than your phone, and a wine cooler that could stock a small vineyard. You could probably cook a 5-course meal without moving more than a few steps. But the real luxury is in the bathrooms. They've got heated floors and smart toilets. Yep, you read that right. Smart toilets. Your bathroom breaks will never be the same again. It's like peeing in the future. And get this, there's a massage room and a hair salon right in the apartment. No need to leave home for a spa day or a haircut. You could literally roll out of bed and into a massage chair. It's the ultimate lazy person's dream. The walk-in closets in this place are bigger than most New York apartments. You could probably fit a whole fashion show in there. It's the kind of closet that makes you want to buy more clothes just to fill it up. After seeing this penthouse, your 5th floor walk-up is going to feel like a broom closet. That fire escape view you were so proud of? It's basically looking through a peephole compared to this sky-high palace. But all this luxury comes with some controversy. Some folks are saying these crazy expensive penthouses are making the housing crisis in New York even worse. It's like the ultra-rich are playing Monopoly with real buildings while everyone else is struggling to pay rent. And get this, real estate experts are arguing about whether these insane prices can last. It's like the housing market has gone off the deep end, and nobody knows if it's going to come up for air or keep sinking into crazier territory. So next time you're feeling fancy because you got a new IKEA shelf, just remember, somewhere out there, someone's getting a haircut in their private salon, 1,000 feet above the city, probably sitting on a toilet that's smarter than most computers. Now that's living large New York style. The $295 million, the one mega mansion. Forget about smart toilets and private salons. What if I told you there's a mansion with a nightclub that could fit most of LA's party scene? The one isn't just a home, it's an entire world of excess. This place is so massive, it's got its own zip code. No joke. You could probably get lost just trying to find the kitchen. But the real showstopper? There's a 6,000 square foot nightclub inside the house. That's bigger than most people's entire homes. You could throw a party for half of Hollywood and still have room to spare. And don't even get me started on the garage. This thing can hold 50 cars. 50. It's not just a place to park. It's nicer than most people's houses. You could probably live in there and still have more space than a typical apartment. But wait, there's more. The main pool is longer than an Olympic-sized pool. Michael Phelps could do his full training routine and still have room left over. It's like they looked at a regular pool and said, nah, make it big enough to have its own lifeguards. Ever wanted to get your hair done without leaving home? The One has got you covered. There's a full beauty salon right in the house. You could go from bed head to red carpet ready without ever stepping outside. It's the ultimate lazy person's dream. Now let's talk entertainment. The private theatre in this place seats more people than some small towns have. It's not just a big TV room. We're talking a legit movie theatre. You could host your own film festival and still have empty seats. But the real kicker? The master suite. This thing is bigger than 4 average American homes combined. It's not a bedroom, it's a whole apartment. You could probably fit your entire family in there and still have room for a yoga studio. After seeing the one, you'll realize your dream home is actually a joke. That extra bedroom you've been wanting? This place probably has a whole wing just for storing extra toilet paper. But here's the thing. All this crazy luxury comes with some drama. The original developer, Niall Niami, filed for bankruptcy in 2021. Turns out building the most over-the-top mansion in LA isn't all smooth sailing. There were legal issues, money problems, the whole 9 yards. So next time you're feeling fancy because you got a new throw pillow, just remember, somewhere out there there's a house so big and so expensive, it literally went bankrupt before anyone could even move in. That's the one for you. Too much of everything, including problems. The $500 million Saudi palace. If you thought the one was over the top, hold on to your throw pillows because we're about to enter a realm where even bankruptcy fears to tread. Ever wonder what happens when you take royal treatment way too literally? The Saudi palace ain't just a home, it's practically its own country. This place makes Buckingham Palace look like a cute starter home. We're talking about a $500 million mansion that's dripping in gold. Not just gold-colored paint, but actual gold. It's like Fort Knox decided to become a house. You could probably melt down the doorknobs and buy a small island. But the real kicker? There's a concert hall inside that could host the Grammys. We're not talking about a little music room. This thing can fit 2,000 people. It's got fancy acoustics and everything. You could have Taylor Swift perform in your living room and still have space for her backup dancers. The garage in this place isn't just for cars. It could probably fit a small army's worth of tanks. Most people are happy if they can park 2 cars. This garage could hold a car dealership. It's got space for 100 vehicles. That's not a typo, 100 cars. It's like they looked at a regular garage and said, nah, make it big enough to land a plane in. Now let's talk about the mosque. Because when you're this rich, why leave home to pray? This thing can hold 1,500 people. That's not a typo either, it's bigger than some actual churches. You could probably fit your whole extended family in there and still have room for the neighbors. But here's where it gets really wild. There's a hospital wing. Yeah, you heard that right. A whole section of the house just for medical stuff. I guess when you're royalty, you can't risk catching a cold from the commoners. It's like they took a small clinic and said, yeah, put that between the living room and the kitchen. The landscaping on this place probably uses more water than some small countries. It's not just a few pretty flowers. We're talking about gardens that could make Versailles jealous. You could probably get lost in there for days. After seeing all this, your idea of living like a king is going to seem pretty peasant-like. That fancy dinner you splurged on last month, that's probably what they spend on breakfast here. Your new TV, that's like a light bulb in one of their many, many rooms. But here's the thing, all this crazy luxury has got some people talking. Critics are saying it's too much, especially when there's so much inequality around. It's like they built a whole city just for one family while other folks are struggling to pay rent. So next time you're feeling fancy because you got a new throw pillow, just remember, somewhere out there there's a palace so big and so expensive it's got its own zip code, concert hall and hospital. That's the Saudi palace for you, where extra is just the starting point. The $1 billion Antilia in Mumbai. From Saudi sands to Mumbai skies, we're jumping continents but not dropping the luxury. Picture a building so tall, so ridiculous, it makes skyscrapers look like garden gnomes. Antilia isn't just pushing boundaries, it's rewriting the laws of what a house can be. And trust me, you ain't seen nothing yet. This place is so tall it's got its own weather patterns. No joke. You could be chilling on the top floor while it's raining on the bottom. But here's the kicker. There's a snow room that makes real snow in Mumbai, where it's hot and humid all year round. It's like they said, let's bring winter to one of the hottest cities in India. Why? Because they can. Antilia's got more elevators than some office buildings. We're talking 27 elevators zooming up and down at 9 meters per second. That's faster than you can say I'm rich. You could probably race from the bottom to the top and still have time for a snack before your friend takes the stairs. Now let's talk about parking. Most folks are happy with a 2-car garage. Antilia, the garage takes up 6 whole floors. That's a whole building for most people. It can fit 168 cars. You could park a different car for every day of the week and still have room for your neighbor's rides. But wait, there's more. There's a temple in the house, because why leave home to pray when you're this rich? It's like they looked at regular mansions and said, nah, needs more divine intervention. And get this, Antillia's got 3 helipads. 3, because one is for poor people, I guess. You could have 3 helicopters land at the same time and still have room for a rooftop party. The staff quarters in this place could house a small village. It's not just a few spare rooms, it's a whole community. You could probably fit the entire staff of a hotel in there and still have room for their families. After seeing Antillia, your high-rise apartment's gonna feel like a treehouse. That view you were so proud of, it's basically looking through a peephole compared to this vertical city. But here's the thing, all this crazy luxury ain't sitting well with everyone. There've been protests about how over the top it is, especially in a city where millions are struggling. It's like building a golden spaceship in the middle of a shantytown. Some folks are saying it's too much, even for a billionaire. So next time you're feeling fancy because you got a new IKEA shelf, just remember, somewhere in Mumbai there's a family living in a building taller than the weather, with more cars than a dealership and enough snow to host the Winter Olympics. That's Antillia for you, where extra is just the starting point. The $2 billion Villa Leopolda. From skyscrapers to sprawling estates, we're trading height for acreage. But don't think for a second we're downgrading. What if I told you there's a mansion so extravagant it's got more bathrooms than some hotels and a greenhouse that puts botanical gardens to shame? Welcome to Villa Leopolda, where too much isn't in the vocabulary. This place is so fancy it makes other mansions look like trailer parks. We're talking about a $2 billion estate that's basically its own little country. The gardens are so massive and lush they use more water than some small towns. It's like they took all the plants from the Amazon and said, yeah, let's put that in the backyard. But here's where it gets wild. Villa Leopolda's got its own private beach, because why mix with the common folk when you can have your own slice of the Mediterranean? It's the ultimate keep off my lawn sign, but with sand and waves. Now let's talk about the greenhouse. This thing is bigger than most botanical gardens. It's not just a place to grow some tomatoes. We're talking about a whole ecosystem. It's over 2,500 square feet of exotic plants and flowers. You could probably find species in there that scientists haven't even discovered yet. And if you're into wine, hold on to your corkscrews. The wine cellar at Villa Leopolda could probably keep all of France tipsy for a year. It's got over 1,000 bottles of the fancy stuff. That's not just a collection, it's basically a wine library. But wait, there's more. This place has got more bathrooms than some hotels. You could use a different toilet every day for a month and never hit the same one twice. It's like they looked at a regular house and said, nah, needs more places to pee. The pool is so massive you could probably lose a yacht in it. We're not talking about a little backyard splash zone. This is an infinity pool with views that'll make your jaw drop. You could host your own mini Olympics in there and still have room for the spectators. After seeing Villa Leopolda, your vacation home's gonna feel like a camping tent. That beach house you were so proud of? It's basically a sandcastle compared to this place. Villa Leopolda isn't just a home, it's a whole different level of living. But all this luxury comes with some baggage. The place has a pretty wild history going back to Belgian royalty. It's been in movies, caused legal battles, and even sparked some international drama. Guess when your house is worth billions, it comes with billion-dollar problems too. So next time you're feeling fancy because you got a new patio set, just remember, somewhere in the French Riviera, there's a mansion with more bathrooms than your whole neighborhood, a wine cellar that could outdrink a small country, and a pool big enough to make cruise ships jealous. That's Villa Leopolda for you, where even the plants live better than most people. The $4.50 billion Villa Aurora in Rome. You thought Villa Leopolda was the pinnacle of luxury. Hold on to your monocles, because we're about to step into a place where even the ceiling is worth more than most museums. Ever wondered what it's like to live inside a priceless work of art? Welcome to Villa Aurora in Rome, where history isn't just on display, it's the whole dang house. This place is so old it makes the Colosseum look like it was built yesterday. We're talking about a mansion that's seen more centuries than most countries have been around. But the real showstopper? There's a Caravaggio mural on the ceiling that's worth more than some countries' GDPs. Yeah, you heard that right. Most folks are happy with a nice paint job, but Villa Aurora's got a masterpiece just chilling above your head. It's like having the Sistine Chapel in your living room, but cooler. Step outside and you're basically walking through an ancient sculpture garden. The statues here are older than some nations. These aren't your grandma's garden gnomes. We're talking about priceless artifacts that belong in world-class museums, but nah, they're just hanging out in the backyard like it's no big deal. And get this, the place has got secret passages like a real-life game of Clue. It's not just a house, it's a mystery waiting to be solved. You could probably spend years exploring and still find new hidden doors and corridors. It's the ultimate hide-and-seek playground for billionaires. Now let's talk about the library. This ain't your local bookstore. Villa Aurora's got books so rare they make the Gutenberg Bible look like a cheap paperback. We're talking first editions that are older than most countries. It's got a first edition of Dante's Divine Comedy just sitting there like it's no big deal. Your e-reader's looking pretty lame right about now, huh? But wait, there's more. There's a private chapel that's probably nicer than most churches you've ever been to. It's not just a room with a few crosses. We're talking intricate frescoes, stunning altars, the whole 9 yards. You could have your own personal mass without ever leaving home. And if you're into wine, hold on to your corkscrews. The wine cellar here has bottles older than the United States. Yeah, you read that right. While America was still figuring out how to be a country, these grapes were already chilling in oak barrels. It's like drinking history, but tastier. After seeing Villa Aurora, your antique collection's gonna look like dollar store finds. That vintage lamp you were so proud of? It's basically a nightlight compared to this place. Villa Aurora isn't just a home, it's a time machine that lets you live in luxury across centuries. But all this history comes with some headaches. Keeping this place in shape is like trying to preserve a whole museum. They've got to deal with climate control just to keep the artworks from falling apart. It's like living in a fancy sauna where the humidity could ruin priceless masterpieces. So next time you're feeling fancy because you scored a deal at an antique shop, just remember, somewhere in Rome there's a family living in a house where the ceiling alone is worth more than most people will see in 10 lifetimes. That's Villa Aurora for you, where even the dust is probably priceless.